All right, good morning. Happy Monday, January 26th. It is cold. I know it is colder wherever you are. I know most of you guys are watching in Texas, Georgia, Nashville. Man, y'all are getting blitzed right now. So sorry about that. We are in our version of it, like the 30s. So I know y'all are cold up there. But hey, lots to go over today. I'm going to get into the numbers right now, but I want to let you know we've got another guest today, and this is a very important one. Everybody on this video is going to want to stick around because we're talking insurance. And we're seeing new articles. Some of you have sent me articles on insurance. There's still a big misconception about insurance down here. We've got Drew Armacost with the Baldwin Group waiting in our little green room, waiting to get on. So let me get to the numbers so that we can get to Drew and tell you guys exactly what is going on in insurance right now. So new listing 62. Listen. I know that this, sometimes it can seem repetitive on what I'm doing every Monday, but then now we're back up to 62 on the listings. We were in the 40s, high 30s, and we were celebrating that, right? But we knew this day was coming. It's interesting to me why we're having a rush in listings right now, 20 more than last week. I think it's because word's getting out that we're doing transactions. So let's look on the transactions. 39 pending, okay? Really good. You guys that have been watching this for a long time, you know that we've been consistently in the 20s. 39 pending. You might say, Casey, what's happening down there? Was it a big week? Was there a holiday I missed? No. This is January, and this is what I'm trying to give you the feel on. We always judge it by Casey's phone. We've been busy, been telling you transactions are coming. Here we are with 39 on the third week in January. Now I saw a spike in new listings. I'd rather that stay down. Closed 15. We're not going to pay attention to that right now as long as they're consistent with the pending contracts. We just want to see 39 in about 40 days, right? That's how that goes. Price changes 46. So interestingly enough, we saw a spike in the new listings, but price changes kind of stayed middle of the road. Okay, that's pretty average for us on that. So story of the day on the numbers is we're killing it on pending contracts. You guys can see that. And I told you it felt that way with the offers that we've been doing and the phone calls. I was just hoping to see the new listings stay down, but I think word's getting out. And here we go. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's get straight into it. Drew, good morning.
Casey, good morning, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Drew, you've been on here before, but for everybody that might be seeing you for the first time, you mind giving yourself a little intro for your company and what you guys do?
Yeah, so Drew Armacost with the Baldwin Group, formerly known as Affordable Home Insurance. We are an independent insurance broker with access to about 98% of the Florida insurance carriers. So kind of a one-stop shop for solving all risk-related matters, whether it's homeowners, auto, pretty much everything but health insurance. So been in the panhandle of Florida since 2006 with this business, and have seen a lot of growth and a lot of change, but market trends are certainly getting better, it seems.
Yeah. So, man, I'm glad you mentioned auto because, I mainly come to you from the home side. We've been doing this for years, and we kind of bring you in to keep up to date. And me want to reach out to you was for two reasons. One, I saw a couple of articles got sent my way. And then I was working with some buyers over the last couple of weeks, and they were like, Casey, they were basically saying like, Casey, I know the insurance is just out of control down there. Like, is it keep getting worse? So that's still the narrative. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring this in, Drew, so we can just kind of get to it. This is one of the articles that was sent my way, and it's basically referencing, this is January 12th of this year. Now, this is from DeSantis's PR team, right? So I'm just like, this is where I got this. But it basically just talks about the significant relief. A lot of the conversation in the article itself is about specifically citizens insurance, okay? So I guess I want to get your reaction on a couple things. Number one, and I'll leave this article up for just a second, and we'll go through some other points, but, tell me your early reaction to just kind of seeing this article. You guys have been talking about this for a while. Kind of tell me where we are, and then I want to go over a few points in that article.
Yeah. We are certainly shifting into a softer market. His article that he released does specifically address Citizens, which is a state-backed insurance carrier that truthfully, if we can place you with a market other than Citizens, that's what we should be doing as advisors. They're really the last resort option. But we're seeing these trends that he's touching on with Citizens really carry throughout the rest of the marketplace as well. We've transitioned into a much softer market. We've had about 10 new carriers come to the state of Florida. And just like any business owner, you've got investors you've got to satisfy. You've got to find ways to write policies. And the only way to really do that is to be competitive from a rate standpoint. So we're starting to see a lot of carriers kind of jockey for position. I would anticipate, we'll see probably some additional rate decreases. I think his article referenced about 3 or 4 of the admitted carriers that had also taken rate decreases: Florida Peninsula, Security First, and Universal. Those are all companies that we represent. We've seen other admitted carriers also file for 8 to 10% decreases. So I think that the future for Florida policyholders is pretty optimistic, and it's the first time I've been able to say that to you in probably 5 or 6 years, Casey.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, I think last time we spoke, we maybe were talking about they're leveling off, or that's what we were hoping for. But then when you start seeing decreases, and so, speak on that. It seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of this is coming from the point of it is, you mentioned Citizens while you're shopping. The reason we come to you guys is that you broker it out and you go find the best opportunity based on the property that it is, right? Like, that's why we come. It's not like, okay, Drew only has this, so it just is what it is. You mentioned Citizens. It seems to me that the gist of this is whatever moves he's made has allowed more carriers to come in, and that has softened it and made it more competitive, versus years ago when everybody was leaving, we were left with what was there, and that was driving the rates up. And so this is the inverse in that. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, he made some changes, obviously, one-way attorney fees and some of the assignment of benefits fraud that had been taking place running rampant through Florida. He really attacked that at the legislative level. And that has allowed, these shift in rates that we're seeing now.
Yeah.
It certainly helped stabilize the market, back in 2025. Having a quiet storm season in 2025 didn't hurt, but all of these factors together is what's driving these rate decreases. Yeah,
right. No storms, but touch on this point. Like, I think that most of the public, when they would talk to me about the insurance prices going up, they would just blame it on the hurricanes and things like that. We know that's always a factor, but I mean, the litigation piece was a large part of what was running insurance companies out of Florida as well. Is that not correct?
100%. Yeah. I mean, back in 2021, 2022, we were seeing litigation percentages of settled claims, sometimes more than 90% of that settled claim was covering just the litigating fees, which is insane. So that trend is true all through Florida. What they've done at the legislative level to combat that has certainly helped. We've got to hope that they don't repeal that. I do know, in talking to some leaders within the industry, that there are some legislators that are pushing to repeal some of that. So, as citizens of the state of Florida, policyholders in Florida, we need to make sure we're talking to our legislators and obviously are articulating to them that, we're seeing rate decreases and this stuff's working, so it doesn't go back the other direction.
Drew, is this a year where, let's paint this picture, like if Powell said we were going down to a 3% interest rate. I know a lot of people that borrowed over the last couple of years would be going to like refi. Is this a year where, but when I start getting my insurance bill, or when that time's coming, is this a year to check in with you guys and make sure that I'm just not, because a lot of times those bills just come the exact same every year, and people just, if it's through their mortgage, it just goes into the escrow and they pay it. I mean, is 2026 the year to kind of say, all right, I'm going to get this bill, but I'm going to call Drew and make sure there's not better opportunities out there right now?
It definitely is, man. We were I think a lot of policyholders were even pretty numb to hearing their agents say, hey, if you got a renewal, pay it, because that's where we were for a couple of years. Very hard market. You were fortunate to get a renewal instead of a non-renewal, which we saw a lot of people get.
Right.
And regardless of rate increase, right?
Yeah.
So 100% is a perfect time to shop this year, especially with all the new players that have come into the marketplace, the rate decreases we're seeing. We are having success stories daily of saving people thousands of dollars. So if it's coming up for renewal, definitely shop it. Don't put it on auto pay. It's easy to do that, but it's imperative that you stay on top of it and review it every couple of years.
Yeah, I'm in March, so you'll be hearing from me. But also, like, if it's a very good point that you brought up. What a change where we're like, hey, if they send you the same rate, sign it with light speed. Because what was happening was people were also getting letters that be like, hey, it's over. Like, we're not honoring it, or go rip that roof off and we can talk again, right? Like, what a change we've made. I feel like, I mean, that's a year's change, right? I mean, this time last year, somebody getting a renewal, we're still in that framework. So, I mean, this is a 180 almost from where we were a year ago. Is that what it feels like?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The history of the Florida market, Casey, has been kind of a roller coaster ride. Where the hard market we experienced from 2020 to 2025 wasn't the first hard market that Florida's had, and probably won't be the last, unfortunately. But you see kind of the ebbs and flows of the market, and we are definitely shifting back towards a softer market. Probably not as soft as it was in 2011, 2012, 2013 timeframe, but
Right.
any trend downward is good. And if these trends continue, it could very easily, drive rates down again next year. So we'll see what happens.
Drew, will this also be a factor for condominium HOAs? That, I mean, a lot of those went up because of insurance, and it was kind of a perfect storm for them in terms of all those milestone reports. And then, but I got to think insurance is insurance, so they should be checking too to see if those HOA fees can get adjusted. Am I right?
I'll give you a real life scenario. We actually just recently wrote a big condo policy for a property here in Destin. And we were able to save the HOA $150,000 on their renewal.
It's crazy.
Yep. So, that market, Casey, that's a great question you asked, because the condo market and those master policies are dominated by the excess and surplus lines carriers, which their rate is not governed by the state. They kind of, in the hard market, they were just throwing rate out there because they knew that these condominium association policyholders really couldn't go anywhere else to get anything.
Right.
And that's when we saw 300, 400, 500% rate increases. It is definitely more competitive on that side, and things are getting better. So it really is an optimistic, look for 2026. I think even 2027, things are looking pretty optimistic. So we can hope for a quiet storm season come June, and all of that, those stars align. I mean, things are certainly trending in the right direction.
Well, we keep getting the Gulf this cold. That helps, man. I always dip my toe in May and try to predict what kind of year we're going to have. If it's still chilly out there, I feel great about things. So
we've had snow in the Panhandle 2 years in a row. So
I know. That runs hurricanes off with light speed, so I like it. But man, what good news! I mean, I think the takeaway from this is that I want to get out to the audience, and that I'll be speaking to my clients on, is like, hey, check those renewals this year. Call Drew. Just make sure there's not something better for you that's sitting there. And if you're a condo owner that has been frustrated, make sure your board is checking on those options that are flying around out there, because you got people in Tallahassee that seemingly are working on your behalf, trying to drive this down. We hear enough rhetoric out there, but on this topic, they seem to be making it happen. So that's good news. Man, we're going to put your contact info below. I know a lot of people that I work with, most everybody goes through you. So I appreciate you taking the time. We'll keep coming back, and please let me know if there's anything else. But I think, honestly, this is one of the most positive things kind of going in, aside from what you heard me saying about just activity and buyers coming off the sideline. I think it's things like this that are out there that are like, okay, the rates are holding steady. Now insurance is under control and going down in some segments. We need to check on that for everybody. Rentals have steady. Everything's kind of coming together, and this is a big piece of it. So I appreciate you coming on to kind of solidify that from an expert versus just a loud agent right here.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Casey. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, buddy.
Awesome, buddy. Well, thanks again, and thank you, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.